So in next in series that we will be discussing with you will be system and process thinking. So I cannot brief you all in just in first slide, but again, I'll go by the literal meaning of these words. Now, so first of all, I would like to ask, can anyone tell me what is a system and what is a process? First you tell me about process. What is a process? Any basic definition that you can tell? Akash, Aman, Aditi, Aryan, anyone? What do you understand by process? बोलो कोई तो बोलो.
Method of doing a thing.
मेथड ऑफ डूइंग अ थिंग, तो उसको मेथड ही बोल देंगे ना, फिर प्रोसेस क्यों बोलना?
Method of accomplishing a certain task.
What
Which
can you tell
is
me again? Once again, एक बार और बोलो.
a way of like accomplishing a task. I think the process basically has some kind of repetition. Like the process would give similar results if the process is repeated.
Okay. So मतलब process can be one-time process also. So there is no need of telling that it will have the same result when you will repeat the process. Because many of time we create a process for just one output or one product. जैसे we make a factory or we make a project and a civil structure project, all the process that we create there and will be going or will be running for just one time. So in definition, you don't have to pitch this thing that the process need to be reliable or in a way that it will be, if it will get repeated, it will produce the same output. Can anyone tell me other definition or throw some light over this board? Mehak? हाँ बोलो आर्यन.
A chronological order of achieving a target.
Okay, but somehow you all are going in right direction, but to think of process as a set of tasks, which can go parallel or horizontally or in series way. So all these are tasks, start to end. So basically, it takes some input and it produces output, which is defined output, like what output you want to achieve. So process is the series of tasks and flow of chart of tasks, which basically altogether create a certain output with some inputs. Okay. So when we talk about process, we talk about what are the tasks, what are the activities that need to be done, when they need to be done, and in what order they need to be done. So this is all we call process. And what about system? So process is basically input to output conversion. So all the task or activities is logical sequence of activities or tasks, which basically converts inputs into output. And what do we understand by system? What do you understand by system? Anyone, please make it fast or tell this, I'll continue. Akash, Alex, tell me, what is a system?
System, I think system basically is a collective of, elements, like it has certain parts, and it acts according to some rules or regulations that it has. Basically, you give some input to the system, and the parts inside the system like process the input according to whatever the rules or whatever the parameters that we have set.
Okay, so nice. So basically, I'll just give a little differentiation here in system and process. You told absolutely right. That system is collection of machines, tools, men, and whatever equipments. They basically, what they do is they run the process over them. And so basically, when we were talking about process, we were talking about the task and activities and sequence of activities or work that need to be done in order to get some output. System is something which basically carry the process. So we run a process over a system. So earlier it was like just like we have our personal computer and we computer system which we always called system, where we used to have CPU, keyboard, mouse, and a screen. So all together they are joined or combined together to run many processes that you want to run over it. Similarly, let's say there is an organization or there is a college. Even talk about your college. So in whatever college you will be going to study, there will be the admission process, and which basically set off all the activities which has to be done in order to get people admitted in that college. But the system will be like, uh, the website will be the part of system, the person in charge will be taking care of all the calls will be the part of system, the person who will give all the process, the computers that will be used in that will be the part of system. And final, the every activity that need to be happen, it will happen on a system. So basically, in business, just remember it. When I'm not talking about the government system or other kind of system, because Akash definition was quite elaborate, and it was including everything. But I focused or I narrowed it down to just for let's say business purpose. So in business we do have processes to run, and for that processes we need a system. And one of the most important thing that I'm trying to pitch here is system need not to be have just machine. A software can be the part of system. A man, a people, and a man or an employee can be the part of that system. Your website can be the part of system. Your infrastructure can be the part of your system, because all these together basically important or needed to run this process of admission. So in a business, when you have any process like order fulfillment process or uh, yeah, service delivery process or sales delivery process, any process that you have, you need to create, or you need to first, you need to think all the activities that need to be done, their sequence, their logical connection between sequence, and what are the interconnection between all the processes. Even process can have two or three processes together and also interlinked with each other. So we define all the processes first, and then we try to find key how it will get happened, what system we need to have or we need to create so that the process can run on it. Okay, so now you must have understand that process is series of activities that need to be done or need to be completed to get that output, and system is the simply the operators or group of all the machinery, people, softwares together, which basically let the process happen on itself. Okay, so this is how we think these days businesses are, or this is the way that we try to define our business processes these days. So we'll be going ahead and I will be getting it learned. There are some more examples and more insight ahead, but first let's talk about the three major consideration while creating a process or a system. The process needs to be the three measures on which we check the process, that the process needs to be effective. So can you tell me what is effectiveness and what is being effective? Okay, Devyani, tell me.
So, according to me, effectiveness of a process basically or a system
Mhm.
is basically how efficiently it works, how
No,
efficiently it works
no.
too. Okay,
No, basically what you are doing, mixing effectiveness and efficiency. Okay,
okay.
so if when we are talking about effectiveness of a process, or when the process is effective, when we call something is effective, just remember the thing. You have some fever, and I gave you a medicine, and you are asking me, will it work? I will say, no, it is effective. So what is the point of effective there? Because you have some temperature, you want to get it down, and if the medicine can do that, that medicine
Hmm.
is effective. So effective is just like meeting the expectations, meeting the expectations.
So I was going to say how effective, how efficiently it is approaching the final goal. I was going to
Matlab
say that.
that again, there may be expectations of efficiency also.
Okay, sir.
In
Okay.
that way, you are right. But in
Hmm.
general, when we're talking about expectations, I'm just talking about the output that you are
Hmm.
expecting, whether you are getting it or not,
Hmm.
even if without being efficient. So in many cases, see, in many cases, output is important, efficiency is not.
Okay, so I should remove the efficient part of it.
Efficient, but sometimes it might be important because this is the expectations only. See, matlab
Okay, sir.
like if I'll give you an example. Think about an organization which is very new, and they have launched a product and they want to sell it for matlab, to 10,000 people in month. And in any case, they want to sell it to 10,000 people है ना, in that month. So they want to come up with a marketing process or marketing sales process which can do this. So initially, they are not bothered about how efficient this sales process is. The only goal they need to have and they need to complete is they want to sell it to 10,000 people. So in this case, effectiveness of the process, this marketing process or sale process will just have this expectations. Okay. So now when once it has got achieved and now it is like being repeated for the next cycle and being repeated for the next cycle, now you are forcing another expectation to this process that do the same, achieve the same target by using least resources.
Okay,
Understanding,
efficiently.
Devyani? Huh.
Yes,
So
sir.
then we are adding new expectations to effectiveness. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
when we are talking about effectiveness, we are just talking about what are the expectations that we have with that process and whether that process is getting or achieving that expectations or getting that output or not. So effectiveness, when we say effectiveness, it's a measure of if being effective. Like like you wanted to create a production process which will make 1,000 product in a day, but after the entire day of running, the process just could just produce 800 uh, products. So again, this process is effective because it is producing the 800, but effectiveness is low because it's not meeting the entire expectations of the uh, process owner. So we'll say 80% effective. You know? So effectiveness is kind of measurement by which we measure that how much percent of our expectations we could achieve. Okay. So is everyone okay with this definition? So
Yes, sir.
so the next word that I have is efficiency. Can you tell me what is efficiency? What do you understand by efficiency? I'll be asking. Let me ask with someone else. Mehak, tum batao, what is efficiency?
So efficiency means how well you can do a task and how using the optimal number of resources required. Like there's no wastage.
Okay, matlab, you are talking the very ideal goal. Optimal is very different word, difficult word also. And how well is not the language of any MBA graduate. Okay? So there is no well, proper. These words are not going to work ahead. Okay. जैसे कभी कभी हम लोग बहुत इंटरव्यूज में भी सुनते हैं और बोलते हैं कि सारे प्रोसेस को प्रॉपर तरीके से चलाना है तो प्रॉपर इज अ वर्ड दैट यू विल अवॉइड हाउ वेल इज अ वर्ड दैट यू विल अवॉइड ठीक है so when we talk about efficiency है ना we talk about how much मतलब output has been created with how much input has been spent to create that output. So efficiency, when you talk about efficiency, the mathematical term just says output per unit of input. ठीक है मैक्स समझ में आ रहा है तुम्हें?
Yes, sir.
So I'll give an example and see the complex part is your input is not singular. Like for a particular process, your input can be manpower, your input can be man hour, your input can be matlab, the cache that is needed to run, your input can be any resource, so for every input you can have different measure of efficiency. So when you will talk about any particular process, the efficiency, the efficiency requirement, or the measure of efficiency, we do it with respect to the most critical resource. Like I'll give you an example. Let's say we are producing a product which uses water, and we don't want to use more water, because water is costly resource these days. So if our production plant is producing 20 product by using 100, let's say by using 5 liter of water, so how much efficiency does it have? 5 product per liter. So it's just an efficiency, is just a measurement. And when we say efficient, so that means who is better? Like let's say other company has the same process, but it produces 20 product in just 4 liter of water. So it will have 5 product, sorry, यहाँ पे था 4 product per liter, यहाँ पे 5 product per liter. So one's efficiency is 4 product per liter, and second efficiency is 5 product per liter. Whose efficiency is better?
5 product per liter.
The second one. So basically, when we say the second one is efficient, we basically compare with their efficiency. But efficiency standalone doesn't portray that the process is efficient. So efficiency is just an measurement, mathematical measurement of it, in what rate we are spending our resources, and for every resource you can have different efficiency measure. So it's not always like I'll add one point here. In business world, we don't always use output by input as a measure of efficiency. Sometimes it get reversed also. So I'll tell you how. So let's say you have let's say if you go to any car showroom, if you go to any car showroom, and you'll go the inside office of the car showroom, where basically all the salesmen and the showroom head sits there. So they give you a data that for we have spent 35,000 for each car in this particular month. So 35,000 each car, that means the total product marketing cost per car is 35,000. So here what we are doing, we are putting input over the output. So like if they have spent 3,50,000 money to sell 10 cars, so they are putting input as numerator and output as denominator. So we can reverse the data also, but that depends in what case or in what circumstance you are using the measurement of for which input, or for what situation you are using you are measuring the efficiency. So why I'm talking about these terms, because while creating a process, or while managing a process, or while you are repeating a process, you take care of these terminologies, and that's how we do the management of process. So flexibility, the last term is flexibility, which is what are the adaptability, and flexibility also can be replaced with adaptability. What are the scope, and what in how much the process is eligible to cope up with the changes. Changes जो है वो external भी हो सकता है, and changes can be internal also. So sometimes when external changes like demand change हो गया, या type of product, या type of services that they need, the customer needs, that is being changed, or internal changes like company has lost some resources, or company had to shift somewhere, or anything which arises due to the inherited problem with the organization. So whether we are able to create a process which is strict enough to not to change ever, or it is flexible enough to basically bring the change in it to cope up with the external change or required change. So if the expectations is being changed, and again, when we create new ways processes, we put a scope for this, to make the process more flexible and adaptable, so that in near future, if anything changes, the process can adopt. Okay. And again, it can also be term in term of it can, whether it can grow with the demand or not. Okay. So these are the three terms on which we basically judge or measure any process. So now, after explaining all the key aspects of system, process, and their properties or their attributes, and we'll be going for why we have been talking about all these. So earlier, since start, whenever the organization started grew, we know that, and even in India, many of the organizations still functions on their functional departments, like organization which has a very like it has its center, the management at center, or owners at stakeholders at center, and then they have different functional departments, like they have marketing department, they have sales, they have operations, they have manufacturing department, they have R&D department, and they all together work for the betterment of country. Sorry, not country, for the organization. So it seems very obvious that every organization has these departments, and they work together, they work in sync for the organizational goal. But just you may realize, or when you go to any organization, you will think, uh, after few years or operation, after few years of operation, or after few years of a few years when the organization works and try to achieve their goal, all these departments start competing with each other. Like marketing people will not get coordination with the HR people, or HR people will not get any coordination with R&D people. They might have different kind of disputes among them, and they will start hiding or not communicating with each other. So in that case, what happens when there is a, and this also happens due to lack of communication channel among them. So these problems basically, eh, the competition among themselves, not collaborating properly not, I'll not use properly, not collaborating to achieve the goal, and also the communication barrier which established. So communication barrier which they establish among themselves, it's called silos. Okay, so this is very important term. So if you're appearing for OD interview or HR interview or even any other thing, and if you're talking about silos, so even the teacher who will be taking your interview will be very happy, because the entire effort of technology these days, we see about ERP and everything, the entire effort, the entire objective of using technology is to remove the silo between the organizations. So so all these problems starts happening in an organization when they work or they function with the functional approach. So in 1985, around 1985, one of the scientists, which is living legend in term of management, Michael Porter, he started the using term, or he started thinking to run a business in process approach. So the idea behind is like if you'll see how that organization earns money, he started realizing that organization basically doesn't earn money, it processes does. Like you do manufacture a product, you get supply from other supplier, and they get supply from other supplier, and you basically after manufacturing you package, and then you deliver to the different warehouse, and after that warehouse it goes to the wholesaler, and then it finally goes to retailers, and then it is being bought by customer. So basically the customer is buying for all these processes, not the name, or not on the HR, not on manufacturing department, not to R&D. No customer knows how much he's paying to R&D, what part of his payment goes to R&D. Customer just pay for the service that he is getting, for the product which he is getting, and the product is being made or product is being acceptable to the customer by these processes, not the departments. And this is how Michael Porter identified the need to think businesses as a process, not as a group of functional departments. Earlier, we used to see as a system where all the functional department works together to complete the process. Now, the entire approach of business manager or organizer is to make these processes more and more effective, more and more efficient, more and more flexible, so that it can basically serve the customer well, and it can get the trust of customer, so that new customer can come to your organization or business can grow like this. So what Porter realizes, he made a chart, he called it Porter value chain, or we call it Porter value chain. So if you go to any MBA program, you will study any subject, let's say HR, if you study HR, if you study operations, if you study marketing, if you study any other subject, even IT, I bet within first or two or within fifth chapter, you will get this Porter value chain there in that book. So bring a book for marketing, like Philip Kotler or any other book, bring a book for HR, like any other HR book. Any management functions that we study these days always talk about Porter value chain, because whatever we are and wherever we are in an organization, our goal is to make the process smooth, not the department smooth, not that functional organization strong. So if someone is in marketing, he take care all the marketing aspect of that process, not the marketing department actually. So they had they by this way, all the employee will focus over and will take the accountability of the part of the process, not the department itself. So I have put the Porter value chain here. So basically, Porter identifies there are 5 primary activities. Inbound logistic is like everything we do before manufacturing, like procurement and all the logistic part that we do. So that is inbound logistic. Then this is operation, in which we make the product or services. Outbound logistic is like how do we deliver and how do you provide product or service to the customer. Marketing and sales is basically how do we reach customer and how do we know about customers' need, how do we understand the customer's mindset over this, and how we make easy to them to buy the product or service. And then finally, how do we provide service over there, our product. So these are the 5 primary activities which produce the margin to you, and all the other activities or we can add more here. All the other activities, we call it support activities. So like procurement, technology development, human resource development, firm infrastructure, finance, everything. And we have written just 4 here, but everything that we do other than this is the support activities for us. So for an organization, this is what which basically makes money, not these activities which makes money. These activities have responsibility to make sure that these activities are running smooth and effective. So this is called Porter value chain, and these are the primary and secondary activities of Porter value chain. Okay, so this is very important, and you must have been must be realizing that even after this small lecture, which is not even the entire MBA oriented lecture, you must have seen a lot of changes in your perspective. And so that's why MBA is important. MBA, we don't do MBA just for a skill. We don't do MBA just for knowing how businesses works. We also understand how it has been developed and evolved and what direction it may go. So, so all these things that I'm telling you, and is a very basic of what you will be doing in MBA. And then when we talk about when we talked about processes and system, and also established that these days businesses runs over or prioritizing over the processes and how it is being made and smooth, being effective and efficient and flexible. So to read a process, we basically we also create or we manage our businesses by managing our business processes. So business processes can be anything, like for every other business, the processes are defined differently. And for shoe maker, processes are defined differently. For electronic goods maker, processes are defined differently. So when and even for a particular industry, like two electronic goods company may have different type of business process. So how do we manage, how do we improvise our business process? So one of the things is that we create process map. So you must have studied in your graduation or 10th or anything, or the diagram that you used to make for computer programming. So what do we call that? क्या बोलते थे हम उसको, जिसमें हम स्टार्ट ऐसे फिर डायमंड वो कुछ बनाते थे या क्वेश्चन करते थे ऐसा, इसको क्या बोलते हैं? डेटा ट्री नहीं, एल्गोरिथम डायग्राम बोलते हैं.
Yes, sir. Algorithm. It was.
Algorithm. So this is, earlier we used to make a process like this, but these days this has been this tool has been is in used. So basically it is start to finish process. So where it goes start and where it goes to which people, and we take which decisions, and with this process chart we also make a data flow chart. So that every process is basically binded with the data flow. So this is how we create, and I have taken a very small example of process map. So for real business, it can be very complex, and with every activities that is mentioned here, there are some cost, there are some time, there are some manpower requirement, skill requirement involved. And we also try to identify where do we get bottleneck, what we can do to remove the bottleneck. So this is how we manage or improvise processes. Okay. So one of the things that we do business, and I'm talking about overall business, not the specific departments work or manufacturing work. So there are other concerns in every department or every other department, even the support activity or primary activities, those activities also have smaller activities or sub processes, which we basically study in detail in our MBA program. But this is the overlook or this is the importance of process and how do we manage our process of business. So this is all for today. Basically, what did you learn today is system and process thinking in business, how businesses are moving from functional approach to process approach, and water value chain. And the last thing that you studied, also the quality of process. How do we define the quality of process, or what attribute we identify the process, which was basically effectiveness, efficiency, and flexibility. And the lastly, business process management. So we can have another discussion over other part of business process management later, but this is all for today in terms of the presentation.